Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait Where We Talking About podcast, episode 236. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011. You can catch this podcast over on YouTube, where it drops topic by topic, or as one big video, and MP3 on podcast services on Friday. Remember, guys, anything you want to do to help out the show, like, shares, subscriptions, whatever it is, helps the channel grow. May seem small, but goes a long way. So we'd love and appreciate you for it. It's been a while. And, I know it's been a while because that intro took me like 3 or 4 times and I had to change stuff because we don't do them live anymore. So first off, before we get to any of the topics, if it's your first episode, hey. But if you're a returning person, appreciate your patience. I know it's been a while, a long time coming for this episode. It's been a few weeks, maybe a month since the last one. Yikes. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I was debating making this a whole topic of its own, of the real life stuff. Nothing awful. I mean, there's been ups and downs, but one isn't there. But just in terms of like a burnout and confidence and I don't know, is it fun anymore and things like that. So trying to be better, not get myself in that rut of thinking, but it's hard. So I just want to apologize to you guys and just say thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being patient with me. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for checking out the streams when we do those. That's all. Just quick little bow on that. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about random topics, have some fun. And if you guys want to join in on the conversation, of course, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts and feelings are on the topics today. Speaking on topics today, we're going to hit a little bit of wrestling. We're going to be talking about Wrestlemania, booking so far as it's looking. We're going to be talking about the MCU, kind of doing a quick little review on Captain America Brave New World, but then kind of figuring out how all these pieces come together. And then we're going to wrap up with the WWE2K25 review after a few weeks of playing it. My thoughts and feelings on it, or rather this year's iteration. So let's get on into it. So let's talk about Wrestlemania 41 as we head into it. So we're still a little less than a month away from WrestleMania, and I think my inflection and tone right there kind of already puts a stamp on like how I'm feeling towards this Mania. I want to be excited, but for right now I'm kind of in this weird lull of like not boredom, but worry, lack of excitement, whatever it is. I know the nights are going to be great, and there's going to be a lot of good matches as we're going to talk about here that are going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of energy behind them. Obviously, the crowd at WrestleMania also adds to that. But yeah, just some of the builds, or I guess the amount of time to build, which is only a little bit different. I think this is a later WrestleMania than typically it is, but you still have, the build from the Rumble, the build from the Chamber. Obviously, there's still a month's time typically in between these events, so it's not anything super different, but it feels like things are dragging on, and there's not... It's kind of like a hurry up and wait situation, and there's a few of these stories that we're going to be talking about, or storylines that we're going to be talking about, where I feel like it's just like, all right, I get it, we're doing this, and while it started excited, it's just kind of dipped off from there, and it's, I don't know, I just haven't, some of the weeks I haven't even watched Raw and SmackDown too, and I know there's a lot of good stuff on there. It's just like, my motivation level's been like, I don't know. So as of right now, we got a few different matches that are announced. We've known about Jey Uso going for the World Heavyweight Championship with Gunther, thanks to the Rumble. Also with the Rumble side, we have Charlotte Flair going after the WWE Women's Champion with Tiffany Stratton. We have the newer stuff with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens squaring off. We have Bianca Belair going after the Women's World title with Io Sky, new champ as of a few weeks ago. We have the triple threat with Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. And we have the undisputed WWE Championship with Cody Rhodes defending against John Cena. So, getting some build. There's also, tricklings of the SmackDown tag titles with Pretty Deadly, DIY, Los Garza, Street Profits, Machine Guns. probably do a multi-man like the ladder match last year. I'm totally fine with that. I like all those teams, so that'd be good. Trying to think. I mean, what's Penta doing? There's rumors and talking about the IC title picture. I mean, I know he lost last night DQ, or the match ended DQ. So is Penta going after IC with Braun and Finn and Dom and Ludwig and Pete? I don't know if they're going to do 6-pack, but you do a Fatal 4-Way there. Ray Phoenix, how does that play into things? New Day's not doing anything. They're going after the Raw tag titles, which is held by War Raiders still, right? But Raw's tag division hasn't gotten the TLC, I feel, that SmackDown's tag division has. You got the women's tag belts. Are Raquel and Liv going to do anything? I think they should, for how Liv's succeeded this year. And then you got a Bayley. What's Bayley doing? Is Roxanne coming up? I'm trying to think of who else. Drew and Damien's been built. It's not official, but that'll probably happen. LA Knight, is he doing anything with the U.S.? Lyra with the women's IC. Chelsea with the women's U.S. Yes, there's a lot of titles now to kind of try and snake hole, pigeonhole, whatever you want to call it, into this 2-night card. Not impossible. It's just, it feels like some of these things are falling on the wayside. And there's a lot of big players. Granted, they have them now built up, that it's not super clear what they're going to be doing, and it's a little concerning. But we'll see. Time will tell. You know, you got to give them. I say you got to give them time, because I'm like, there's too much time. Whatever, we'll figure it out. It's unfortunate though those stories don't feel as strong. Not that WrestleMania 40 stuff, outside of, you know, Bloodline, Civil War with Dwayne, Final Boss stuff, was like, other stories were blown out of the water, really, in comparison, built up as that one was. And I'm sure you could say that for the Road Cena stuff, kinda, maybe, in terms of a hype and like the excitement level. We'll have to see. So anyways, sorry, breaking this down. I don't have much to say about Orton and Kevin Owens. I think the Elimination Chamber between Owens and Sami Zayn was pretty good. I thought they could have gone farther, or at least how they were promoting it, I thought they were going to go farther. Don't get me wrong, there was some insane stuff in there. The double table spot, the stuff with the chair, landing on it and whatnot. Yeah, Kevin. But once again, just for all the build that they had put into it, of like, this is no holds barred, or no, sorry, unsanctioned, just led to believe, or led me to feel like they're going to push this farther, and then when they didn't, it was good, and that was it. And that's not awful, it just didn't have that payoff I guess I was expecting. And now to have it fall back to Orton, while there's the story there with the pile driver coming back, you know, from that, I get that. The story totally makes sense 100%. It's just my excitement level isn't necessarily behind that. Do I think these two could pull off something that's good and entertaining? Absolutely. My personal investment is not behind it. So that's more of a me factor. And I feel that's the same with a decent amount of these builds. And I don't mean to be negative Nancy here, but Tiffany and Charlotte is a similar one, where I feel like both Rumbles have suffered from the 2.5 month gap. And I'm trying to think back as to how they handled this in the past. I feel like a lot of times they fell back to it's a running joke, but can they coexist storyline? Like, oh, we're friendly, we have to team up and go against some heels, and then, you know, the fallout is towards that latter half. While I wouldn't want that, is that just how it seemed to go in the past? Or was there like, similar to how they're doing with Io, Bianca, and Rhea, this like middle point, at least contender for the championship, where champion A has to fight this contender, and then you can do the last month build with whoever the winner is, even if it is a say, a toss-away opponent because you know that person's going to hold the title to the end. Is that just what it was, or am I just overthinking things? I mean, granted. It just seems like both the Uso build and the Flair build, both have been very strange, and it's just felt, because the time long and arduous. I know Gunther was beaten down on some people. I know he had a match with Axiom, which was great. I don't think the trend is really followed as of Monday with Jimmy Uso slapping him. That seems to be the route, and I think that's a good step. Get the motivation in Jay. You know, hurt my brother, whatever they want to go there. I think that's good. But I don't know if, like, beating up Otis, beating up Tozawa, that was super helpful. Obviously, Jay is over like nobody's business, and I'm really happy for him. I don't get as much of the internet hate, and I'm not trying to side with them being like, oh, that was a mistake, he shouldn't have won. No, go back to that Royal Rumble episode. Are we talking about it? I thought that was hype as shit that he won. You know, it's cool for the crowd reactions, this little program with A-Town Down Under. You know, it is what it is, just feels like filler. Without substance, and it's lacking there. And then, going back to the Charlotte and Tiffany thing, because I started and then went over to the men's side. They had that one brawl on SmackDown a few weeks ago. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. It's too early. It felt like that should have been like maybe the go home, beat the shit out of each other. And then the promos, I'm glad they decided to go Charlotte heel, but I don't know. Maybe this is just me not watching SmackDown in comparison to Raw as much. I just don't get it. It doesn't seem like anything comes out of what they're doing. I guess Charlotte, not scorched earth, that sounds a little dramatic, but Charlotte had a decent promo segment with Tiffany this past Friday and kind of, you know, wrung her out, and it was pretty brutal from what I heard. I don't know. And like I said, I don't mean to be negative Nancy here. Maybe this is just a weird reflection of other stuff that's been going on, but I'm like, okay, yeah, let's just get to it. Once again, I'm sure it's going to be a great match. Charlotte does amazing stuff. Her and Rhea last year, you know, was insane. I'm trying to keep blanking on what other matches, but like she shows out at Mania, and Tiffany's very skilled as well, and obviously had the success that she's had. So I'm sure these two will have an amazing night at WrestleMania. Excuse me. And it'll be a good one. It's just this weird build and wait and lull almost getting to that point. The Punk Reigns and Seth stuff, at least that's a little interesting. We waited a little while to that build. I like the continuation of Seth and Punk. They work really well together, and obviously at least they are, if they have personal feelings, they're staying professional. But the promos really come across well, where it feels emotion driven, and now adding the Reigns component into it. Weird path getting here. You know, we thought Roman would be doing something different. Obviously, you had the Bloodline Ulafala stuff and on the Netflix debut with Solo. Jacob Fatu's kind of just been fighting with Braun, being like, hey, yeah, we're doing big man brawls, but I don't get hurt. So you thought maybe that was going to be the route. This doesn't seem... I don't think Roman's lost aura, but it certainly feels weird from where he was. But that's the ebbs and flows of things. So I'm intrigued by that. I'm sure those three will put on a good triple threat. It'll be definitely be a different pace in comparison to the women's triple threat that I'm thinking, and I think a lot of people are thinking is going to happen with Io, Bianca, and Rhea. And this is where I'm going to get positive. Woo! Stoked Io won. Would have been stoked if Rhea and Bianca were doing solo. Any combination of this match happening, I am so excited. Big fan of all three of these ladies, and the fact that the triple threat is like pretty much there and looming on the horizon. I know next week we got a weird title match with Bianca, a special guest. You better not take this off Io. I think I'll be more pissed if you take it off Io and then don't give us the triple threat now, because it seems like you know, once again, they've been building to that, at least with the promos, the pushaways, all that stuff. We had the shock win by Io to get even into this picture. Since that win, it's been pretty clear. Triple threat, let's go. So if it's anything different, then it's going to be like, yeah, still being great, still going to be exciting, but just that little asterisk of like, sadness. But anyways, the three of them together is like dream scenario for me, and that's going to be awesome. Like, that will probably be my most anticipated match over WrestleMania weekend, even with the Rhodes Cena stuff going on. Very excited for that one. Another one where it's been a little bit of a weird build, but I feel like my excitement overrides it, like how Rhea just stole the contract and kind of signed her name on it, and almost a little kind of crybaby-ish about it. But I like that the audience is getting behind Io. I was a little scared that they wouldn't for some reason, just because obviously the language gap and barrier, and then doing the tag stuff for a while. But Io's gotten over, which is great. Bianca going back into the solo stuff. She's been on fire since she's come onto the main roster after that first initial gap back in the pandemic era. And Rhea obviously is blown up from what she's been doing. So really excited for that one. I hope they just stick the landing these next couple weeks in terms of a build. I don't know if Bianca comes out of this heel with the whole Jade Cargill stuff. Didn't mention them earlier, but that's a potential match of Jade and Naomi. Maybe that's a SmackDown Go Home show. I don't know. But does Bianca reveal to be heel along with Naomi and just being like, nah, I was kind of sick of Jade? Who knows? If all of them just stay face and fight it out, that's fine by me too. All right, so let's talk about the big one with Rhodes and Cena. So I think I'm more intrigued in this, like everyone, based on the storyline factors and not necessarily the match factors. No offense to John, he does okay. He does his stuff, but it's not, we're not going to be breaking the bank here. The Cena turn hit everybody. I think seeing the reactions of people more closer to Elimination Chamber. I think I did the exact same thing at home, as a lot of us did, where we're all popping off at Cody saying, Rock, go fuck yourself. And we're all stoked about that. We think, oh, Rock's back in business. And, maybe this is a good step instead of last year's panic. The hug. I think we all had that moment of like, oh, this is great. Wait, why is his face like that? Huh? What? And then it was like the explosion of feelings before, like, you're watching the car crash happen and you can't do anything about it. So the face, us going through it emotionally, mentally, all that stuff backs up, and then it happens and you're like, oh my God, we're actually doing it. It's been interesting with the promos these last 2 weeks I thought Cena's initial heel thing promo was good. The toxic relationship, I know, a little touchy-feely there and kind of but I thought it was good. I was intrigued. The follow-up on the Cody side of things, not that like he's done anything bad. It's another thing. It's just like, I know they're holding off them getting physical. It's that swelling of the balloon. But to have Cody come out, all fucked up from, what's his name? That doesn't matter. Rapper guy. It's a work, brother. Go out with the promos there. He's emotional. He's angry. Makes sense. And then Cena's finally there. He's in grasp, and he's just like, yeah, I'm going to do, we're all cool now. Not really, but like the tonality. Don't blame the fans and don't do this, and then just doesn't do anything to physically get back to him. I understand we're going to get to that point, but to do that 2 weeks in a row now of just Cena comes out, Cena bitches, Cody comes out, Cody's happy. Ugh. How does The Rock play into this anymore? Does The Rock play into this anymore? I would assume so. But right now it's just a normal match. I feel like Cena's got to win. Now with the switch, it would be weird to have him switch and not win. I think this works for getting him his 17th. I'd be happy with that. Then you can do other programs with him as a heel. People have talked about Orton. People have talked about Punk. I wish he would work with some other people, maybe people he didn't work with before, but I understand it seems like his schedule is also hit or miss for this farewell tour, but we still got a lot of time. Was he going till the Rumble was his last Rumble? Is he going to December? He might be going to December. So you still got, 9 months. You could do some stuff there. But time will tell with that. So just right now, predictions. I think Cena's the obvious choice. While I get why Cody could go over for a, passing the torch moment. Just seems weird for the move to have Cena go heel and then not commit to it fully. So I think Cena wins. We talked about Jay. I think Jay wins. That will be the go home feeling, or go home good feeling on maybe a night one. Oh boy. Then we get to the rough ones. Probably Orton wins. Tiffy and Charlotte. God, I don't want Charlotte to win. That's my thing with Charlotte. She's amazing. She's amazing in the ring. She's amazing in what she does promo-wise and character-wise. She's so good that I just don't want to see her anymore. Just So, I would hope Tiffany won there. You could push Tiffany, up more. But has Tiffany done the strongest in these coming in the last couple weeks, with this story? I don't feel she's really stuck out or improved, which is unfortunate. I feel like Charlotte's kind of swamped her. So it's tough. It's tough to say. I don't know. I guess Charlotte will win. Yeah, we'll see. Triple threat. Reigns, Punk, Seth. I guess if you want to keep Punk strong, to go for the Cena picture. Granted, bigger stage would probably be SummerSlam, so he could lose now. I just don't see what any of them get out of this, other than, obviously, 3 huge stars. Are we going to bring back the favor for Heyman, or are we just forgetting it? Is that lost in the wind? I'll say Punk wins the triple threat. And then the women's. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Like I said, I like all of them. Bianca's got her WrestleMania moment fighting Sasha, main event that one year. Rhea got her moment getting revenge against Charlotte last year. So does Io get the moment? Io's had only last year's Mania, I believe, against Bayley in a losing effort. So that could work. Keep pushing Io, elevate her over these two predominant forces of each side of the rosters here, or shows. I think that could work. And then, especially with how the story's been going, how they're kind of playing off Io, being like, nope, Bianca's the focus. Nope, Rhea's the focus. I think that could be good. I'd be happy, honestly, with any of them winning. With Bianca being out of the singles picture for a while. Rhea's a weird one, just because why drop it to then get it immediately back? Unless you're just stacking up wins. But yeah, I'm going to say Io. I'm going to say Io wins that one overall. Give her Mania moment, her win. And then also elevate her to be like, hey, she just beat both of these ladies. It's a big question mark of like where you go after this. Where do you set each of them up? If Bianca goes the heel route, I guess her and Jade could go afterwards. Rhea, I don't know. And Io, who do you build up for Io? Becky's always an option out there. I kind of like to see the Becky Lyra follow up a little bit more, with Lyra beating Becky for the NXT Women's a year ago at this point. Yeah, I don't know. But Mania, it's coming up. It's not here soon enough, in my opinion. Builds have been weird. I want to be excited, but I feel this weird, just kind of like waiting, this lull. I feel a little bit more excited about the NXT side of things. Obviously, we got Champ Stephanie Becker. I know she's defending one title tonight against Jada Parker, so maybe she'll drop it. Julia's apparently back. I don't know if she was on a house show or something, so that's sucky that she had the injury, but it wasn't enough of an injury to, keep the title. The Jordan Grace factor is exciting. Trick Williams is kind of an asshole, but him, Oba, and Javon's going to be great. What's Fraxium doing? Are they going against the new Retribution? Dark State, I believe their name is. We'll see. Things seem a little bit more exciting and enticing on that side of things. We'll see. Moving over to topic 2, let's talk MCU. Let's talk superheroes. Let's talk about what the frickety frack, how are we going to get to Secret Wars? But first, let's talk about Brave New World, Captain America. So that was the most recent film. I watched it at this point probably a month ago. Yeah, it came out Valentine's Day, didn't it? So it's been a while. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was fine. The more I've gotten away from it, I've kind of settled down. I think it was one of those things people were like, it's not that great. And then those, not negative thoughts, but kind of neutral thoughts coming out of it immediately. I was like, yeah, that was good. It didn't break the bank or anything, but it's kind of forgettable, which is unfortunate. There's a lot of Winter Soldier comparisons that we can make. If I look down a lot, sorry, I wrote notes on my phone. So just reading those. So yeah, a lot of parallels to Winter Soldier. You had the mystery group attacks. You had a shady government official. You had a villain held in a bunker with information. You had the sidekick coming in. So yeah, Winter Soldier was great. This definitely aims to do that again, but unfortunately does not hit the highs that Winter Soldier does. And fails to really do anything of its own to stand out huge. There's a few things I liked in this one, but in general, notes here. I think the build of the Red Hulk was fine. Obviously, they showed it off in marketing materials and trailers. I know a lot of us felt that this was going to happen eventually, where Thunderbolt was going to make this turn and go into Red Hulk. But I don't know if showing it off in the trailers was the right move. I think they could have held this to their chest. At least even revealing the Hulk itself. Like, even if it was teased at, hinted at, or fans going into the film were like, oh, well, Ross is in a government. He's the fucking president. Being the president, still do the espionage, Winter Soldier, like, government drama, and then have that mystery of like, well, is Ross behind it? And then have the mystery of the Hulk, or at least keep that reveal for the movie itself would have been more enticing. I don't know if they felt that showing it off in the marketing campaign was to get more people in. This movie was struggling a little bit with rewrites. R.I.P. my man Seth Rollins not making the movie with the Serpent Society rewrites. Maybe that was why they did it. Maybe they're just like, hey, we got to get as many people in here as we can. Let's show off the cool stuff. And then, it is what it is. We already got the money in the pockets once we get ticket sales going. If that was the case, that's really unfortunate. And I don't think there was really much else from this movie that was like, I think I said it earlier, a payoff. It was just, it happened. It was there. It never felt like an oh shit moment at any point in the movie, which is unfortunate. Something I did appreciate was they made sure to bring up, Sam's a regular dude, which, good for them, saying like anyone can do this, anybody can be the hero. Sometimes watching the things that he's doing, it's still like, what? Like really makes you question, how is this working? I get he's got the vibranium suit and the wings, so that does make up a lot for it, but just like, okay, like at the very end of the movie, obviously we're talking spoilers, so if you don't want to know anything here, but like being able to talk down Red Hulk, good thing that was successful. Man had nothing else on him. He was gonna die, so good thing that worked. The callbacks to Incredible Hulk after 15 plus years of that movie coming out, while I appreciate it and bringing back these characters and tying some loose knots, it might have been too long. It might have been too long for people really to care or even know. I don't know, like, have people watched that movie in like recent times or even going into it? There's like, Mark Ruffalo's the guy, you know. Technically it's MCU canon, as we see, but it's like the black sheep, unfortunately, of the MCU. It's like that weird one. Nice idea. I don't know if it really worked. All right, I mentioned Seth Rollins sadly doesn't make an appearance with the Serpent Society. I'm curious how the original writing was going to go with that. Post-credit scene, meh. So it was just, okay, we got to let Sam know that there's some shit afoot. I understand why they did it, but it was like, oh, okay, somehow you got to let Earth, whatever Earth they are, MCU Earth, you got to let them know that there's some Secret Wars potential even going on. Could I even tell you what even happened in that? Did you talk to Leader? Was Leader the one who was like, hey, there's this shit going on, multiverse. It's gonna be huge. So, you know, we're just on our negative horse today. I don't know what the fuck this was. Like I was fishing. It was just there. It didn't really do much. I think Joaquin Torres, his character, was a cool addition as Falcon. I think that was fine. I thought what Sam did was good. Hulk was impressive looking, but it was once again just like, oh, he's hulked out for 5 minutes. And then we got a conclusion, like some of the Marvel villains tend to be, where it's always a big bad, always a big bad, always a big bad. Oh, he's gone. So, I don't know. I don't know what Giancarlo Esposito's role was in this. Well, I know what his role was in it. But, like, that Serpent Society that was even there wasn't even that great. I get they were the Hydra comparison and the Arnim Zola comparison to Winter Soldier. More parallels. It was just kind of there. Just, And it's a shame that the negativity train, I feel like I'm getting worse and worse as the movies go on. Like, I really like the Marvels, excuse me. And I was probably the only one, or one of the only ones who did that. But then there's been a lot where it's just, there's been fun moments. There was more fun moments in other movies. This one I just didn't have anything, I felt. So this leaves me with the question, and I'm sure a lot of people's questions, how in the hell are we getting all these people together for Secret Wars and Doomsday? So that's what we're going to ponder right now and try and articulate. Not well. So right now, we're in Phase 5. The last Phase 5 movie is going to be Thunderbolts, which excited for, intrigued. Let's go intrigued, maybe not excited. Intrigued about. That's the end of Phase 5, and then Phase 6 is going to be kicking off with Fantastic Four. So, I have gone through and listed off all the big heroes that I can think of from memory. So if I forget somebody, I do apologize. You know, nobody being like, oh, you forgot M'Baku. Well, okay, I'm sorry. Are we really? Yeah, he was in Endgame. But do you really think he's going to be making a big move here for Secret Wars? I don't know about that. So the big names I've written down via phase, via appearance. We're going to go through and list all these different characters, keep track, see how many we're going to even have. All right, so Phase 1, we got Iron Man. Guess what? He's dead. Spoilers. We got Hulk. We got War Machine. We got Black Widow Natasha. Dead. We got Thor. We got Loki, who's kind of busy being the god of the multiverse. You got Hawkeye Clint Barton. You got Captain America Steve Rogers. He's an old guy. You got Nick Fury. You got Maria Hill. You got Agent Coulson. Dead. Phase 2. You got Bucky Barnes. You got Falcon / Captain America Sam Wilson. You got Star-Lord. You got Rocket. You got Groot. Drax. Gamora. Dead, but her 2014 version is out there somewhere. Nebula. Yondu. Dead. Scarlet Witch. Dead? Quicksilver. dead. Vision, dead. Ant-Man. Black Panther T'Challa, IRL, unfortunately. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Wong, Mantis, Valkyrie, Black Panther Shuri, Okoye, Wasp, Ghost, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. Okay, so there's your leading up to Endgame. Now, I know I've filled in some, post-Endgame stuff of oh, well, this person was actually in the multiverse. This person's this person's that. I get it. I just went in order of when they were introduced. Got off my back. Phase 4. All right, so everything post-Endgame now. This is TV. I had to split it into TV shows and movies. So we start getting the Disney Plus shit. So Phase 4 Disney Plus. We got Spectrum. We got White Vision. You got Falcon Joaquin Torres. You have Loki Sylvie. You have Hawkeye Kate Bishop. You have Echo. You have Moon Knight. You have Miss Marvel Kamala Khan. You have She-Hulk. And you have Daredevil. Movie side of things. Black Widow Yelena. Red Guardian. Taskmaster. Shang-Chi. This shows my memory. The Eternal Crew. The 5 or 6 or 8 of them. Don't remember. Black Knight. Blade. Spider-Man Tobey Maguire. Spider-Man Andrew Garfield. America Chavez. Remember her? Captain Carter from the multiverse. Dead. Mr. Fantastic from the multiverse. Dead. Professor Xavier from the multiverse. Dead. Black Bolt from the multiverse. Dead. Thor Jane Foster. Dead. And Ironheart. Then we got to Phase 5. Only 2 from the TV shows. Granted, I haven't watched Daredevil and I haven't watched Echo, so, cut me a little slack here. Super Skrull Gaia. Yeah, I'm really stretching here now. Punisher. Then we go to the movies. Stature, a.k.a. Cassie Lang. Adam Warlock. Ravager Bro from whoever's got Yondu's arrow now. Don't remember his name. Sorry. Cosmo. Yes, I put him in Phase 5. I know we've seen him since Guardians 1. Yeah. Beast from the multiverse. Deadpool from the multiverse. Wolverine from the multiverse. OG Blade from the multiverse. Gambit. Multiverse. Elektra. Multiverse. X-23. Multiverse. I wasn't sure if they were dead or how that worked as they were fighting in the, no man's land, erasure place. Human Torch, Chris Evans, Multiverse, Super Dead, and Sentry from Thunderbolts, who might be the villain. He was in the first trailer, but then he's not in the second trailer. It's interesting. Phase 6, Mr. Fantastic, Pedro Pascal, Invisible Woman, The Thing. These are all multiverse, by the way. Sorry. Human Torch, Joseph Quinn. Multiverse. Actors' names, just a heads up. And then Doctor Doom, a.k.a. Robert Downey Jr. Multiverse. Okay. So, hopefully you're keeping count. That was probably 60 names. I don't even know. Doesn't matter. So, there's a lot of people at play here. So, let's try and now go through our mental capacity and memory banks of where the hell everybody here is. Now, if they're dead, obviously we'll go very quick. We'll be like, yeah, they died. Where are all these people located? Okay, Phase 1. Iron Man's dead. R.I.P. Black Widow's dead. R.I.P. Captain America Steve Rogers, the old man. He's big and chilling. Agent Coulson, dead. Hulk. Okay. Last I recall seeing Hulk, and once again, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. Or if I'm missing something because I haven't watched the program. So sorry. Hulk. Last I recall seeing him was She-Hulk. Do I remember what he even did post She-Hulk? No. I feel like he said something at the end when he was saying bye to Jen, and I couldn't tell you what it is. So as far as I know, he's on Earth. He been chilling. War Machine. Last we saw him was the Secret Invasion, the Skrull thing. Turns out body was swapped out with a Skrull. Was for a little while. Could have been around Civil War time period. Not Civil War, the movie. And he's now back, awake, maybe working in the government. Yeah. Oh boy, I should have watched more of these probably as a little bit of a refresher. Thor. Thor is in space. Thor is hanging out with his new adopted daughter, who now wields big axe, Stormbreaker, and he has tiny hammer Mjolnir, who we got back from Jane. Okay, he's living the dad life. He been chilling. They're blowing up space baddies. Loki, we talked about this. He's the god of the multiverse. He owns everything. He's sitting in his big chair holding all those tethered lines together. Could that be important later? Let's put a pin in it and see if I remember. Hawkeye Clint Barton. Last we saw him was the Hawkeye show, to my knowledge, unless he popped up in Echo. He is training Kate Bishop. Nick Fury. Secret Invasion was also the last time we saw him. I'm trying to remember if he went to space with, did he go back on the Sword base or the Skrull base? I know he came from there. And then the Skrull was taking his position. He's been that way since Spider-Man Far From Home, so post-Avengers. And Maria Hill might be the same? Yeah. Bucky. We'll be seeing him in Thunderbolts, so he's kind of TBD. Captain America Sam Wilson. Just saw him beat up Red Hulk. He's on Earth. He knows about the multiverse, or at least something coming up. Star-Lord is back on Earth, living with his dad. No. Grandparents. Rocket. Groot. Nebula. I think Nebula's part of that. They're all part of the new Guardians of the Galaxy with the Ravager guy, with Cosmo, there was a kid. I believe there was a little girl too. Can't remember. Drax. I think he's retired. I don't think Batista's coming back, but he is chilling with Mantis on whatever their new home base place was. They were taking care of people. Gamora 2014. Was she in Guardians? Yeah, she was in the new Guardians one. Yeah, because Peter was dealing with all of his emotions, and that Gamora's like, I don't know who the hell you are. What happened to her? I think she just said, I'm going to do my own thing and peaced out. Man, this is bad that the Phase 4, Phase 5 movies, story-wise, haven't really hit where I feel like the early ones did, where I'm like, oh, I remember exactly where the story went in those. I remember moments, I remember really liking Shang-Chi, I remember liking the Eternals for what it was. Spider-Man, obviously, a little bit different factor there with the returning Spider-Man. But yeah, a lot of these I'm like, I don't even remember what happened super well. That's not great. Yondu's dead. Okay, Quicksilver dead, Vision dead, Asterix. All right. Scarlet Witch, I put dead? Last we saw her was Multiverse of Madness, and there was the explosion on the mountain thing where she learned the she was carved into the wall and some shit and hex magic. I don't think she'd be dead, but it was kind of implied maybe she is. We didn't actually see her die, so there's potential, Fast and Furious style. Vision, another one where it's dead, and you heard me point out White Vision later. His consciousness is alive in a new android which flew off at the end of WandaVision. He's just been chilling, zooping around wherever he wants. Ant-Man, last time we saw him, is he stuck in the quantum realm with Wasp? I remember they defeated that Kang. And I kind of feel like he was stuck there. I can't remember if they got him out. I know they were all being sad. Of like, oh, well, we saved the day, but we took our ride home gone. So him and Wasp may be in the Quantum Zone. Quantum Zone? Quantum Realm? Quantum Realm. Tom Holland Spider-Man. He is in New York City. He's on Earth. He has an apartment, and no one remembers him. Bing sad. I don't know why I keep saying Bing. I'm so sorry. Doctor Strange. We also saw him last in Spider-Man. No. Multiverse? Multiverse of Madness was the last time we saw him. He's got... Oh, yeah, because he's got the third eyeball on him. He's all mad because that curse of dealing with the dark magic. He's also with... What's her name? Clea? She, like, recruited him for some mission, and the end credits there. Wong, I believe the last time we saw him was Multiverse of Madness. He had the little interaction with Shang-Chi, talking about some beacon or ping from outer space. We saw him in She-Hulk, though, briefly, so I think he's hanging out at the Sanctum Sanctorum. Mantis, already talked about. Valkyrie is over in New Valhalla. Black Panther Shuri, she is in Wakanda. Okoye now has the Iron Man suit for the Dora Milaje. Well, she's not even Dora Milaje now. She's got a Iron Man suit. Waspy talked about Quantum Realm. Ghost will be in Thunderbolts. Carol Danvers, she was in the Marvels. She helped save the universe tearing apart with Kamala and Spectrum. The other Rambeau, I can't remember her first name. And I think she's chilling in space. Speaking of her best friend, Monica Rambeau, Multiverse, she was Captain Marvel. She's dead. I don't know why I didn't put that there. She's all... Is she also... She might have been somewhere else. I feel like we... Yes. Okay. So, hold up. Ooh, get confusing now. Multi-one. Okay. So, MCU canon. She died from like a cancer or something because Spectrum, her daughter, was sad by that. Multiverse Introduction 1. She was Captain Marvel in the Illuminati in Multiverse of Madness. Scarlet Witch comes up and fucks them all up. Multiverse Introduction 2. And this is where we'll skip ahead, I guess, to Spectrum. Oh, Spectrum's next anyway. So Spectrum, Rambeau daughter, introduced to her in WandaVision, shows up again in the Marvels. She protects us from the time-space continuum rift in space, gets blasted to another multiverse. She wakes up, Beast from the X-Men is there, Kelsey Grammer, and also her mom is there as a different hero that I'm blanking on the name. But bam. Okay, cool. We're all caught up. Thanks for sticking with me there. White Vision, where he talked about. He been chilling somewhere. I know I'm jumping around because like I wrote these out in like when they were introduced, and then some canon events are happening out of order here, so I'm sorry. Falcon Joaquin Torres. He's hurt. He's all busted and broken, but he's alive and on Earth. Loki Sylvie. TVA. Kate Bishop we last saw. She's training with Clint. We last saw her with Kamala Khan doing the little Nick Fury post-credits scene like, hey, Young Avengers, let's go. Echo. Whatever happened in her series, that's where she's at, but I'm assuming she's on Earth. Unless some weird space shit happened. Moon Knight. He's on Earth dealing with his split disorder stuff where he's got a third personality introduced. Cool. Kamala Khan on Earth. She-Hulk on Earth in her weird space, not space canon, but fourth wall breaking canon. Daredevil. This is a weird one because the new Daredevil show, apparently he doesn't talk about what happened to She-Hulk and his one night stand there. So, I haven't watched those first 4 episodes or whatever out now. He's on Earth. Is it Earth? I would say probably. Alright, Black Widow Yelena. Gonna be in Thunderbolts. Red Guardian. Thunderbolts. Taskmaster. Hey, guess what? Thunderbolts. Shang-Chi. Earth. Talk to Wong. Space Ping. Okay. Eternal Crew. In space. Going to save someone of their friend who got captured by someone. Black Knight. That is Kit Wilson. Yes, boy. No. Kit Harington's character. He was in Eternals. He was kind of a love interest of one of them, I believe. He's stuck home. It's like a family heirloom. He gets a sword. It's post-credits. He opens that up. Doesn't have any powers yet or anything. And Blade, new Blade, off camera, talks to him about like some, whatever their team-up thing is going to be, if it even happens now. Spider-Man Toby, he's back in his universe. Spider-Man Andrew, he's back in his universe. Merrick Chavez, she's hanging out with Doctor Strange on Earth. She's the multiverse girl that jumps around. Alright, we got the Illuminati. We already talked about them being dead. Jane Foster's dead. Ironheart's back in college. Earth. Super Skrull Gaia. Wherever Fury is. Or maybe she went on her own. I don't remember. Punisher. Shows up in the Daredevil show. Don't know much about it. Cassie Lang. Did she make it out? I know she was there in the quantum realm. You had the weird thing with Big Head MODOK and her. I feel like she escaped and it's just Wasp and Ant-Man down there. I think she's with Hank Pym on Earth. Adam Warlock, part of the New Guardians. Ravager, New Guardians. Cosmo, Okay, we talked about Beast Multiverse. We saw him once in a post-credits. Deadpool and Wolverine. They're in their own universe over here. OG Blade, OG Elektra. Are they alive? We don't know. X-23, is she alive? I don't know. Gambit. We don't know if he's alive either. I know there's like a little tease of a deleted scene of him finding something. I don't know. Human Torch Chris Evans, dead. Sentry, Thunderbolts. And then, we got the multiverse, the alternate history of the 1960s futuristic thing for the Fantastic Four. So they're in their own universe. Now, I said put a pin in something. Okay, let's talk about how are we getting all these pieces together. Okay, Big Bad was going to be Kang the Conqueror. Then it turned out Jonathan Majors, kind of an asshole, kind of did some bad stuff. He's not coming back. Kang thingy, we were building to that. It was going to be them versus the Kangs. We added the post-credit scene with all the different Kang the Conquerors around there. That was the whole point of Loki, is like Time Waverly, whatever that guy's name was, whoever Kang actually was, figuring out why he was there. Well, probably going to have to take a hard pivot because of, doesn't seem we're going to recast. So, spoiler, Robert Downey Jr.'s not Iron Man, well, he is, but he's Doctor Doom. He's coming back. He's going to be Big Bad. If not in Fantastic Four, then the first Avengers movie. How do we get this together? Now, we talked about Loki. He's the god of the multiverse. He's sitting in the big chair. He's holding all the tethers together for all the multiverse lines. The reason I put a pin in that is Loki key here. Me originally writing this list is like, Loki's out of the picture. He can't do anything. He's literally in the chair. He's holding everything together. He can't just be like, oh, I'm going to pop out of the chair. I'm going to come in and help save the day. No, he's there holding things together. Is something going to happen to him that then causes the spiral for all these multiverses to then mesh together? Maybe that's what they're going to do instead of the Kangs time jumping or universe hopping from one multiverse to the next. Maybe that's the thing. Question is, how does somebody get to Loki then? That's where we'll have to figure that out. Is Doom the big bad? Obviously, the first Avengers movie is called Doomsday. So is it him? Is this going to be a Endgame Infinity War? Are they going to follow that? Is it going to be Doomsday's the setup? We get a bad ending, where Doom wins, somehow figures out how to get to Loki, how to get to the multiverse, how to elevate himself to a higher power, for lack of a better term. And then Secret Wars is all these multiverses coming together and fighting against Doom to try and bring balance. Maybe that's the plan. So maybe you have all these multiverse elements not even in play in Doomsday, and then Secret Wars, you bring them together. That could work. Because even in Infinity War, not everybody was involved. Endgame introduced Ant-Man to the picture because he was trapped in the realm. And then you had, obviously, the armada of people that came through the portals at the end who didn't really do much. Like, obviously, they fought in the fight, but they didn't have much in terms of a story. In Infinity War, you had it where it was multiple groups. You had Thor going around with Groot and Rocket. You had Star-Lord and Iron Man and Doctor Strange up fighting on Titan. And then you had the Earth crew fighting on Wakanda. So you had those three groups eventually converged at the end. Thanos and his snap happened. And then, we're all sad. And then with the dusting, you got rid of half the cast, so then you could focus on the remaining cast to then build back up to the big fight scene of Endgame. So you had chunks of the cast where you could focus on and build these stories with. With even more characters now in the MCU across 6 phases now. Oh boy. Granted, decent chunk of the people we just talked about are dead. How do you do it? And then do you just do, similar to Endgame, everyone's here. Do you do the fun cameos there? Is that when you bring back the other Spider-Men? Is that when you bring back, if you wanted to, a Natasha Black Widow, a Yondu for the hell of it? All these people who are dead, do you bring them back as like it's from another multiverse? Like, have the oh shit moment like you did at Endgame with Pepper flying in with the rescue armor, right? And I'm trying to think of who else was, I guess, Howard the Duck. I mean, no, not really, but that kind of moment of like, oh my God, they're actually in here. I guess more akin to the Spider-Man movies. Like, oh my God, they did get Andrew Garfield to come back. They did get Tobey Maguire to come back and have that cool factor. You could do that at the end where you don't have to give these characters this big narrative. They could just come back, get a pop like wrestling, like, oh, the actor's back. Maybe have a little interaction in the final fight of like, oh my God, Natasha, Clint, Hulk, I don't know, okay. We don't want them to recast Black Panther, but have like the Black Panther connection. Have Shuri see her brother. Keep the helmet on. You don't need to take the helmet off. But have like a little heartfelt moment like I wanted in this damn Black Panther movie. Even if it was spectral shit or, spiritual shit. Like, have those nice heartfelt moments there, but you don't have to give these characters all this story and like build. It could be these quick moments of fan service, I guess you could put it, at the end. So, all right, maybe we're building something. I don't know how this works out, but maybe that's the thing. Doomsday is only... See, then what's the Doomsday movie even about? Is that... Because Doom is canon in the alternate universe of Fantastic Four. So he can't be, in my head, big bad in main MCU Earth, where a majority of our people are. Unless... Fantastic Four has a few different villains. I don't know if Robert Downey Jr., RDJ, I don't know if he's even confirmed for Fantastic Four. I could be throwing that in there out of nowhere. From the trailers, we've seen Galactus. Galactus is a big bad. And then it seems like there might be one other bad with... Oh, I can picture the actor's face. He's an older gentleman. I don't know. Whatever his character is. So, originally I was going to be like, okay, Doom's a bad. He figures out how to multiverse jump. Jumps to main canon MCU universe. Stirs a pot there. And then figures out how to get to Loki, right? So there's Avengers Doomsday. And then Doomsday happens. You can pull in the Fantastic Four. You can pull in these other multiverse things. And then eventually the big thing, like we talked about with all the heartfelt moments. Yay! To try and take Doom down in his like God mode Loki power up thing. But if he's not in that movie to even try and multiverse jump, unless you don't even set him up in Fantastic Four, you can still have him multiverse jump. Maybe somebody in another separate universe to then come to the MCU one. Maybe. It's confusing. I just don't want to be the people trying to figure this out, like, big board on the thing, like, and actually getting paid for it. We'll stick with that premise. We're going to stick with our dream booking here. Loki gets in trouble. Loki attacked by villain. Villain caused shit. Everyone come together. Heartfelt moments. I don't know. It's insane. It's insane to think about how they'll bring everybody together. Bring everybody together, A, and B, make it so a story is being built with these characters, and it's not just, hi, I'm here. Hi, I'm over here. Hey, I made an appearance too. La 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 la. Like, it's a build and journey for the characters here instead of just 60 people being around. Nothing really gets done, and then it's a fight. You're right there, Chief. We'll have to see. Let me know your MCU theories. I'd love to hear them. All right, moving to topic 3. Let's talk about WWE2K25 and give my thoughts and feelings about the game after playing it for 2 weeks. Yeah. So, start with the positive, get a little negative, maybe bring it back around. So all in all, 2K25, I was really excited for it to come out and jump into it on the 7th. Yeah. Had a great time with the game. Really been enjoying it so far. I mean, it's more of the same all in all when, you know, you think about any sports title that's yearly iterations. They build on it a little bit and just polish. And I think 2K25 in ways is the same. Follows this pattern. And it's great. I think presentation-wise, everything is really crisp. Everything is literally clear in terms of the graphics and the entrances and how the superstars look. The wrestling feels good. And I think from a substance standpoint, this was a win for these guys in terms of there is a lot of things to do, and I think I really appreciate that. So what I mean by that is there's a lot of game modes that you can jump into, from My Rise to My GM, Universe, My Faction, Showcase, The Island. The community creations are still there. Obviously regular gameplay or play mode, exhibition, whatever you call it, is in there too. There's a wide variety of game modes that you can jump into, and that's something I really appreciate. Granted, you know, as we talked about in the past with 2K24, 23, 22, GM mode is where I spend most of my time. You know, for the 100 to 200 hours that I play every year, GM mode is probably 90 to 95% of that. But this year, so far, there's been other modes that have been enticing me more and more and bringing me in and kind of taking my play time. And I've been enjoying my time diving into these modes more and more. So I will say, showcase mode, in comparison to years past, Bloodline stuff is cool. I do like the what if scenarios that they did bring into it, but I haven't played much of it, so I can't give too much of an opinion here other than showcase is showcase. Showcase is what you're expecting. It's solid. It gets you fun unlockables and a lot of good matches that you can relive and kind of play in terms of the history stuff, as Artemis agrees. But, nothing breaking the bank there. Universe mode, I haven't played it, so I can't really speak upon that. I know they added promos back in, but universe mode isn't typically one that I go towards, whether it is the creative side of things, building your own universe, making the matches, all that jazz, or the superstar mode where you can play as it. I did try the superstar mode a little bit last year. I think I played as Shotzi Blackheart, and it was fine. It felt kind of like the My Rises of old, which I'll talk about next, is repetitive. Hey, you get into a rivalry, you're going to fight this person, and then if the rivalry ends or not, you're still going to be fighting the same people. And granted, it's a wrestling game. What do you expect? You're going to be wrestling a lot, similar to any game loop with the sports games. It's a soccer game. You're going to play soccer matches. It's basketball. You're going to be playing basketball matches. I guess just for me, that loop was not as fun or as enticing as other games of similar structure of that loop. It just didn't feel really rewarding. So Universe, I haven't delved into this year at all, so I can't really speak on what they've added, what they've tweaked, stuff like that. But it did allude to My Rise. My Rise, this is the first year I'm jumping back into it, and I was intrigued and brought in by the story. So they're doing this NXT Mutiny storyline this year, so people in NXT and some people on the main roster kind of fighting it back against the main roster itself, and the established brands being like, NXT has been pilfered for years and kind of put down as like this negative or this, third brand, the third wheel, the, whatever you want to call it. And we want to rise above and show that NXT is actually better than Raw and SmackDown. So I was intrigued by that, and I've jumped in. And I gotta say, I've really enjoyed my time with it so far. I'm really having a fun time with it. The story's intriguing. And the nice twist about it here, and they've had it for a little while now, is you get two superstars. You get a men's superstar and a women's superstar. But in this year's, they've meshed together those storylines and campaigns into one instead of keeping it two separate ones. And I hadn't delved into it since they've done that. And I think the last My Rise I played might have been 22 or 20. There was one where you brought your superstar from NXT, I believe, and you worked your way up to the main roster and went from there. And while I enjoyed, or I liked the idea of doing that, in practice or execution, it was not fun. Shout out to Big Cass. No slack against you, IRL. But when I was playing, okay, I got a rivalry with Big Cass. All right, cool. We're going to fight for 4 weeks. Should be done. Then you move on to the next one. We go on to the next one. Nope, I was fighting Big Cass over and over and over again with nothing in between. Nothing building a story, nothing narratively that was exciting or enticing to have me keep going. Just on and on. Not even special stipulations. Just normals match. Go. And that really just put me off. I was like, I don't care. I don't care enough about the creative side of things to make wrestlers anymore. And it just wasn't fun. So to have the story here be so enticing and then be rewarding in terms of like it keeps going and it feeds you more and more each week in and week out, I was like, yes, thank you. So playing this, it's fully hooked me. Jumping in between the two superstars is nice as you get the different perspectives and storylines that you get with them, as one wrestler fights on Raw, one wrestler fights on SmackDown, and you go against the opposition there and deal with the things that they need to deal with. So there's that. There's also rewards and unlockables involved here. And it seems like there's a wide variety. One thing that I've been introduced to recently playing is something called live events. So live events are just your random kind of put together exhibition matches. They don't really lead to anything that's going to build the story or go and progress it at all. It's just something you can do in the meantime to get stat points that you can upgrade your wrestlers in or with to make them better, stronger, whatever. But by doing that, every match that you play, you get a star ranking, just like normal modes. And that star ranking will help build towards unlockables. So you can unlock My Faction cards, which I know everybody feels about, but you unlock the My Faction cards, which by doing so unlocks them in every game mode, and then you can use that anywhere. So it's a nice reward that you can chase after. So the first one, I believe you got to get 20 stars, which in hindsight, not a lot. Gets you Super Cena, so you get Invisible John Cena. Cool. Then it's a lot of My Faction exclusive wrestlers that you'll see, they're superstars that they built, the custom wrestlers like a Cole Quinn and Psycho Sally, I don't know, but there's names in there. Personally, there's a big chunk in there. I'm like, I don't care. But then you get to the end, and there's Demon Finn Balor, which I think they announced prior to the game's release was going to be a thing. I know he's on the base roster, which you can unlock him either through your Supercharger pack or through those exhibition points. But this one's like a dark scale one, so it's black and white paint. Cool, an alternate. And then you get current day DDP is your last one. I don't know if there's more. I doubt they would add more because it's, the story mode, unlike a My Faction where they'll add things over time. But cool rewards there. That's one factor of it. And then there's other factors per story chapter. So title belts and arenas and more that has been hinted at, but I don't know exactly what it is. So I'm enticed to keep playing because I'm getting stuff out of it along with this good story and narrative. I will say some of the stuff a little cheesy. They did get wrestlers to do voice lines, which is amazing. Love that. Are their voice performances the best? No, they do fine. It definitely seems like some people did better than others. I'll shout out Adam Pearce. I think he did a good performance. Others, it's very monotone. There's not a lot of inflection. Yeah. But in terms of what do you call it? Getting invested in something, it's nice to hear their voices and not just be like, oh, I'm reading dialogue. Yep, talking to Becky. Nope. Yep. No, to have their voice actually involved is nice. Is nice to have. So My Rise has been pretty fun. I've been enjoying my time with that. Let's talk about My Faction, because I kind of alluded to the cards there. So My Faction I know is hit or miss with people. I know it was definitely a miss with me last year. I want My Faction to be fun, but it is very grindy in general. And I will say 2K25, it is still grindy. However, I think the rewards are a little bit more worth it this year as we've introduced a new game mode. So we've dropped the Proving Grounds. So Proving Grounds, 5 matches, various difficulties, get you the little stars. You build up the stars and you can get the 3 rewards. As well as completing each chapter of the Proving Ground, you get a general reward. Took a little while to get through those. Dropped that, and now we have added World Tour. So right now, as of recording, the U.S. locations are the only ones available to you. And each location has a different 5-match chapter sequence, whatever you want to call it, involved in it. And each of those gets you different rewards and get you a pack. But the really enticing thing is it gets you Persona cards. And Persona cards, if you don't know, are the special My Faction cards that you can lock them across everything. So usually they're like alternate attires. So last year they had some of the action figures were involved. I think Prototype John Cena was in there. One I really enjoyed was Dirty Dominic Mysterio, but he was masked from his WrestleMania appearance against his dad. A lot of those do make the return in this game, and you get them early. So I know from pre-ordering, you got like a action figure Jey Uso, which wasn't in last year. You got a Roman Reigns Shield action figure. Nation Domination Rock was one in the pre-order. But ones that are making the return unlocked a various amount of ways. But Dirty Dom was a code, so you got that one second week. So cash that in if you haven't already. But Trish Stratus is an action figure you can unlock. Booker T01, just normal, is an attire you can unlock. Prototype John Cena. And then in World Tour, there's separate ones. There's new ones and some returning. But there was a Kalani Jordan from 2023. She's in there. Rob Van Dam from 02? Question mark. There's a RVD in there. CM Punk's in there. His old one, Straight Edge Society. So you can unlock that. Get his old music and whatnot. Hell yeah. So that's been fun to be like, oh, I'm actually getting useful things here. Useful. Getting rewarded here instead of just random pack that may have random cards that don't mean anything or repeat stuff, which, don't get me wrong, still there. But the World Tour has been pretty fun and once again is enticing because of those rewards. I mentioned the attainable Persona cards. Once again, got notes up here. I do apologize. Packs. Packs are still expensive. Packs are still grindy. It sucks. Superstar Series pack, which is like your basic stuff, is not available in the shop this year. Last year it was. You could get your like generic people, try and get them out of the way, and then when they showed up in any other pack, because they were everywhere, you had the potential, okay, yes, it's a repeat, yes, it sucks. You would at least get my faction points back. Definitely not enough to, feel worthy. Still the same here. I'm not going to defend that. But at least last year, that was a pack you could purchase. This year, it is not. The Superstar Series pack is locked behind certain game modes. So your World Tour mode, your weekly towers as an occasional reward. That sucks. However, I think, to play devil's advocate, I think there are way less Superstar Series cards this year than there were last year. There's only 60 this year. I couldn't tell you what 2K25 has off the top of my head. But I feel like that was a bigger collection that you that it was drawn from. So, if you get that 60 sooner, like I said, those Superstar Series cards can show up in any pack. So right now they have 3. They have Fierce, they have Ascent, and they have Legends. So those are your more rarer cards. Those are ones you're going to be chasing after, where it might have a Persona card, it might have the oddities to unlock other Personas, and the higher ranking cards that you want to use to have better stats and all that jazz. So sucks a little bit that you can't just get it out of the way to then increase your odds for at least the repeats. You get the My Faction points to then go back into the pool to try and pull more cards. It's not there. So that's a little bit of a negative. A positive from the card pack pulling. Once again, still expensive. So, take everything with a grain of salt. Not Persona. What are they called? Oddity cards. Oddity cards, you get 5 of them. You would unlock different Personas. So the ones are Trish action figure. There's a Booker T. King Booker, excuse me. Trying to think of who the other 2 are. There's 4 right now. Those oddity cards were like insane to come by last year. At least it felt that way. This year the odds are up huge. So, actually attainable. That's nice. So my faction, all in all, has been more fun. I've made it like a personal goal to play it more this year and not let it just slide by, which sounds weird because, once again, it is a very grindy mode if you make it a grindy mode. Shout out to Rival by Ringside over on YouTube. I know he's put out helpful videos of like, this is the match you want to grind. And even watching that, it's like, oh, okay, 600 faction points for a 2-minute match. And then you start doing the math, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. So a 10-pack of cards here is like 120,000, 600 per 2-minute match. What? I'm only going to get this much if I did this match nonstop for an hour? It's like, gross! So, yeah. Don't get me wrong. That's still there. I want to play it more. I want to. The World Tour is enticing. Staying on top of things and not letting it just go by where there's like 50 weeks and it's like I can never catch up. We'll see. So far, I've been playing it on and off pretty regularly. Hopefully, it can keep giving enticing rewards and unlockables to have the player chasing it throughout the year. Time will tell. And then, yeah, obviously, I doubt it. I doubt the pack math of my faction points is going to change. They know what they're doing here. It's the microtransaction stuff they've been doing in NBA, that FIFA, whatever the soccer game, can't think of it. I don't play soccer games, but like those players have talked about it as well. It's unfortunate. And that leads us to the island, which is another one of these microtransaction heavy areas. And I was intrigued by the island and like, oh, this seems like something cool, something new that they're trying out. Unfortunately, it is not much to talk about. Next-gen console players, PS5, Xbox Series, you're the only people who get this. It's not on PC. It's not on past console gens. And to be honest, you're not missing much. I think it's personally a cool idea. This central hub, online players, you run past each other, customize your creative character, play some matches against people if you want. There's single player content there. The little bit I've played, it doesn't seem worth it. There's nothing akin to the other modes that we've talked about, like the My Rise, like the My Faction. There's nothing, bait sounds bad, but like a fishing. There's nothing hooking me on there, luring me along. Once again, luring sounds bad, but there's nothing. I'm saying enticing a lot. Enticing, rewarding the player enough to be like, hey, thank you for playing this. Makes you want to keep playing that gameplay loop. I don't feel the island has that. I haven't played the online portion, playing against other people. It seems like it's still 2K. It's still the same. It's for some reason they're struggling. It does seem better a little bit, but it still has the struggles that it should not have at this stage. For what 2K is, for what its sister game does in NBA 2K, it's not good. So down point there. GM mode, bread and butter for me. Let's talk about it. Lots of changes and tweaks. Absolutely loved it. There's a lot of new GMs. I think they doubled their amount. A lot of interesting cards that they do have with them. Some are very brutal. Some feel a little lackluster. I'm not going to lie. You get a new brand. You have online mode that's now available to you. You can play your online save online or off if your buddies are in town. You could toggle players to CPU if somebody can't make a session. New win settings are huge. You could win by fans or you could do trophies. You get a bigger budget. You do get bigger rosters. You get more options as the player for a booking timer penalty, fan penalty if you go over that time. Customized rosters. You can now customize their ring level and their promo skill, which is great. Community Creations really supports my playing in that. Filling up those NXT rosters and rosters over time that maybe don't come out as DLC. Everyone who is in the active draft pool will show up and available for that roster or draft when you begin the game. I already talked about bigger rosters. If you play it right, you can get up to 20 superstars at the beginning. You can check other brands' rosters at any point through the GM assistant. Slight change is you can finish rivalries at the Go Home show. And now PLEs or pay-per-views are joint. 2 matches against each other. 1 match, depending on how many players, for yourself to finish rivalries. And you'll get the PLE exclusive power cards, which are huge. And some are insane. So that's been fun. Sorry, just kind of reading through here. Gauntlet eliminator matches are added. Underground matches are added. New PLEs added. Increased injuries. Yeah. So, full roster during the draft being active. Once again, you don't have to search for and hope in years past that a tag team is in there. This allows you to build a tag team division with established teams if you'd like to. From a personal standpoint, this kind of limits the replay value a little bit. With the random rosters in the draft pools in last year in 23s, that randomness kind of helped me in terms of a replay and kind of feeling fresh from game to game. So you lose that a little bit with just having all the active people available, but I think the pros outweigh the cons in that factor once again, with not hoping that, oh, the Street Profits, both of them are going to be in there. Oh, nope, only Montez. Dang. And then you got to search for Angelo the whole time. You don't have to worry about that this time. Shared PLEs make it tougher to settle rivalries early on. You need to unlock that steel cage in the... Oh, is it effects? No, it's not effects. It's the one above it that I can't think of. I think it's backstage crew. Level 2 gets you the steel cage. Get that as soon as you can because rivalries are going to be hard to settle prior to that. You know, you got the go-home shows, which you got the 5 matches, but I still felt like I had a lot of overlap in rivalries, especially with power cards coming into play where you can't use superstars. It is. And then a negative, trades you can still only do after pay-per-views. You can't do it at any point. It would be nice. It seems like maybe they're working towards it, especially with the addition of being able to see other shows, rosters the entire time. It's right there. It just seems like that next building block to be laid on top of it. So GM mode I've been really enjoying, whether playing solo or playing with friends. Like I said, some of those cards are brutal. We had a stream where we did... we got a card, I believe from a PLE, that took a superstar. The next week, that superstar's ring level will be dropped to 0. And I was like, huh, that's crazy. I wonder if that's permanent or if it's just like a 1-week thing, because I could make sense. All right, 1 week, you know, they're kind of a shitter. Nope, that thing's permanent. Poor Julius Creed, you know, went down to a level 0. He's got to build all the way back up. Imagine that hits a legend for that opposing brand. Yikes. So there's that. They've increased some other ones. McFoley's now gets rid... Raw's War. No, Raw. This is War. Instead of getting rid of 3 people, now gets rid of 5. I think McFoley's, instead of injuring 3, injures 5. I think Sherry's or HBK's gets rid of a promo level, so that must be permanent, and there's no way to get that back up. So it could get pretty aggressive if you'd like to play that way. So there's that. A lot of other small tweaks that they made to popularity, to injuries, to morale. Power cards carry over from season to season, so it makes that last WrestleMania week actually mean something now instead of just a throwaway challenge from Triple H. So that's kind of nice. I wonder how they'll work in balancing. Like, just, do I stockpile a bunch of good cards and play them all like the special promotion cards? We'll have to see. Time will tell there. I will say, now we're going to talk about everything. There's a lot of good that we've talked about. There's some negative. My overall thoughts just for the game entirely are just like things that go across all modes as my closing thoughts. Looks good. Lots of modes to play and jump into. Absolutely. A big negative in this one is it seems like there's a lot of polish that is lacking in areas. And for me, it's like, it just puts the big question mark above my head of like, with these games, you would think it's an iteration. You're building on top of things. It's a building block until you build to the castle. And it's like, yep, that's pretty good. So every year should get better, better, better. Now, granted, yes, you're going to fix things. You're going to adjust things, adapt things. Maybe something worked. Maybe something wasn't good enough. Whatever it is, that totally makes sense. But it feels like overall you should be improving. And I feel like what I'm going to talk about here, because there's a lot of things that I wrote down, polish-wise, not unacceptable, but it's like, what happened here? So My examples. Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, have been a tag team for a while. They have no tag team entrance. This is similar to the Family last year with Tony D and Channing Stacks Lorenzo. Family did get a patched entrance. Maybe we'll see that with Fraxium. Metaphor Gentlemen, Oro Mensa, and Noam Dar. They don't have a tag entrance. Metaphor, all 4 of them. Their full entrance is being worked on. It's been mo-capped, so it's coming later, but it is lacking now. Obafemi, name card. Always says he's the North American Championship. There's been some patches since launch. Maybe that's been taken out, so maybe I'm misspeaking here, but that was something. In my GM mode, wrestlers are still not available for drafts. Xavier Woods, CM Punk, Tyler Breeze, etc. That's been something in the past. Why can't we fix that? If it's it's just a hypothetical game mode, right? Who cares if there's 2 Xavier Woods in there, one's playing a GM, one's on the roster? If that's such a big deal, make it an if-and situation, or if-or situation. If Woods is a GM in this mode, or has been picked or selected as a GM, he will not be available in the draft pool. Same for Punk. Same for all the other ones that do apply to this rule. And make it a disclaimer. Or toggle it. I shouldn't have to go to Community Creations, or myself, I guess, make another Xavier Woods just to have him available in this game mode. That seems a little silly to me. Some alignments in the general roster pages are not updated to their most recent one. That's fine, alliances change all the time. However, the frustrating thing is when their alliance is not changed, when others who have changed more recently in the real life product have. That's annoying. Most recent NXT belts, not included. Maybe they'll be included in a patch. Speaking of the titles, there's no speed titles. I know that's a X exclusive title. Who gives a shit? Mid-card titles for GM mode. The women, not available. So you're not going to have the women's women's United States, the women's IC. This was something that I believe was in WWE2K25. I think it was 23, where the men's mid-card titles were not involved. So perhaps that will also be patched in. Just another silly situation that has already happened in the past. Why is this not already a thing here? Seems odd. Especially with the titles being in the game. I think there was early development talks or before the game came out, like, oh, we're not sure if the women's US and the women's IC are going to make it even into the game. If they didn't make it into the game and then obviously didn't make it into GM mode, that makes sense. But the fact that they're in one and then not in the other, question mark. Little weird. Like I said, I would hope they would patch it in. I'm going to have a short coming out about some other weird bugs on GM coming out maybe Friday. It's a 10-person team. And I love that it's a small knit team and that they're dedicated to it. Shout out to New Legacy Incorporated. He had a preview with, I think his name's Tyler. I could be wrong, and I'm so sorry. The lead developer there. They're definitely passionate about what they're doing, and they're hardworking. I don't want this all to be like, oh, you guys suck. Absolutely not. Appreciate what everybody does on that dev team. I know game dev is not easy. It's just, once again, building blocks. If it was like a new game every year, a new IP, a little bit more forgiving. But you're building on last year's game and the previous year's game and stuff before that. It's not like you have to start fresh every time. You've laid the groundwork down. Yes, from a coding perspective and all that, I'm sure there's an element of restart, but I just want you to be better. Not like, ooh, you need to do better, but like, I want to give you your flowers more and more every time. Just be like, you're amazing, you're awesome. And these little things just, it's like, dang, that stinks. Sorry for the rant. Stamina at points in matches seems a little bit rough. Running around, you run out of fast. And then DLC. I know everybody's on this high horse. A lot of wins in this DLC. Let's take it there. Still dumb DLC choices. We're getting an NBA 3 pack with Abyss and Great Khali. We don't need cross promotion. It's not going to work. And we have 2 guest stars. How many people played as Post Malone last year? How many people played as Machine Gun Kelly 2 or 3 years ago? I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe this is like a play to the general audience. If so, good on you. I get it. I don't see the metrics. I don't know. For the wrestling fans, we don't give a shit. And I know that sounds snooty to say, so I shouldn't be all uprighty, hoity-toity. If it's speed, cool. If it's not, cool. Good for them. Happy for them. I don't care. Not going to play as them. It's similar to the Pat McAfee pack last year. Pat should have been included. Yes, absolutely. He's part of wrestling. Commentator, NXT history. Cool. Want him to be in the game for years. I don't give a shit about his buddies. It's a fun moment. Cool. Good for you. I'm in a game. I'm happy for them for having that moment. As a player, don't give a crap. So all in all, 2K25. What do we think? What do we feel? Honestly, I'm loving it. And I know that sounds weird after I just this sucks. I think it's a great game. I think it has a lot going for it. I just want it to be better because I know it can be better. And there's a lot of things here that I'm like, what are we doing? Even as simple as the renders. They do their roster reveal, and still in the game, renders are missized. Renders are missing. What are we doing? We should just have a template. Hey, here's a 6x8. I have no idea. I'm just shouting out dimensions. This is the box your superstar has to fit. Put a picture of the superstar in there. Bam. I get it. You're not going to be able to do it for all the legends. I think it's a little silly. You can't just pick up an old photo of Mr. Fuji, throw him into the managers in my faction, put him there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my faction specifically. Go to my faction, load up your collection. No, not your collection. Whatever. No, it is your collection. Go to managers. That Max Dupree photo, I believe, LA Knight, huge. Mr. Fuji. It's his in-game model. There's other ridiculous ones in there. Why do we not just have uniform pictures? Make this clean. Make it look like you care. These small details, while are small and may seem small, the more they show, doesn't look good. Trying to think. There was something else similar to the renders. Doesn't matter. Can't think of it. So, love the game overall. Wish it was a little cleaner. Wish there was more polish. Everything runs pretty well, minus the online. Some game modes slap. Some game modes do not. It's really going to be hit or miss. I've been seeing this game get a lot of high scores, which I think aspects of it definitely do deserve. Others do not. The fact that New Day has had the same entrance for 4 years. Not even the character change. I'm not even upset about they should have their heel entrance. No, they went heel recently. I get that. The fact that you have a lot of carryover from other games. New Day for 4 years, the same entrance. Other superstars, same thing. To have that and then to have all these other things just not cleaned up. It'd be one thing. Sorry, I know I'm going on a rant right now, so I'm going to try and end it quick. It'd be one thing if all these factors over here, repeat assets, recycled stuff. It'd be one thing if those were there and everything else other than that was perfect. All your new stuff, all your other stuff, perfect. The fact that it's recycled and there's stuff that's not good or, cleaned up, that's a bad look. I get it. It's a quick turnaround. I get it. It's a year. But once again, you're building blocks here. You're building the tower. If you need to, unfortunately, drop PS4 and Xbox One titles or editions because that's taking up too much of your time, maybe that's what you do. I'm not saying trying to, shit on people who got the older consoles, but at some point we got to let the leash go. And that's across the whole game industry. That's a whole nother conversation. 2K, I love you. Thank you for the amount of hours that I get to play that game and enjoy myself. I just want us all to be better. Well, everybody, this has been another episode of the Wait What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, a.k.a. Enigma9011, and I appreciate you guys tuning in today for the wide variety of topics. Sorry for the gap. Appreciate your patience as well. If you guys have any any additions to the conversation on the topics we had here today, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts and feelings, and I'll get back to you in that comment section. But you guys can catch this podcast live over on YouTube, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for amusement on the Friday as well, the following Friday from recording. Any way you can support the show, likes, shares, subscriptions, whatever it is, it may seem small, but it's helped the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Once again, thank you guys so much for giving us a watch, giving it a listen. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.